Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Here we go. GOP Representative Claudia Tenney calls to invoke 25th Amendment to remove Biden from office after alarming her report. Her is the special counsel that was appointed to investigate the classified documents that Biden had all over the place. Many he took out when he was a U.S. Senator and Vice President. All those cases were felonies. Her described Biden as an elderly man with a poor memory who didn't remember when he was vice president. Let that sink in. An elderly man with a poor memory who didn't remember when he was vice president. This is the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military in the world and also has the nuclear codes. Think about that. Let's read on. Representative Claudia Tenney is calling for the cabinet to explore the use of the Constitution's 25th Amendment to remove President Biden from office following special counsel Robert Hur's alarming report. Now, I know Claudia. She used to be my congressional representative in the southern tier in Binghamton, New York, upstate New York. They redistrict things, kind of gerrymander the Democrats did, and she ended up towards the Buffalo area, up north and a little bit west. I like Claudia a lot, talked to her a lot of times, on the phone a couple of times. She was nice enough to come to one of my chess tournaments on a Sunday, spent a couple of hours, and was really generous with her time with a little bit of people that were there. And everybody that was there was very impressed with her. So I like Claudia a lot. Her did not recommend criminal charges against the president for mishandling classified documents. Those records included classified documents about military and foreign policy concerning Afghanistan. And you knew that if you want to see the details, what was in the classified documents, go to my previous video. Her, though, described Biden as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Throughout the more than 300-page report, said it would be difficult to convince a jury that they should convict him of a serious felony that requires a mental state of willfulness. And he said he would be well into his 80s. Now, he's saying that his mental state is okay now, but a year from now, if he's not president, he wouldn't have a mental state of willfulness. This is the only way they can get out of not charging him. The only way, and this is a stretch. What he's saying is Biden is incompetent now mentally, but he can't say that. Fox News Digital obtained a letter Tenney, Republican, New York, sent to Attorney General Garland Tuesday night, sharing her grave concerns following the report. Now, what will become of this? Will the Democrats use this as a way to, okay, Joe's too stubborn to go, so this is a way we can get him out of there? But then they're stuck with Kamala Harris. This is the corner they painted themselves when they went after Trump. After concluding that President Biden knowingly and willingly removed, mishandled, and disclosed classified documents repeatedly over a period of decades, knowingly and willfully, he knew the whole time. Mr. Murr nonetheless recommended that charges not be brought against him, Tenney wrote. Special counsel's reasoning was alarming because he's got dementia. He's old. He doesn't know what's going on. He's not all there mentally. I'm not trying to be mean. He's not there. Tenney added, he recited numerous instances in which President Biden exhibited dramatically compromised mental faculties and concluded that a jury would likely perceive President Biden as a sympathetic and forgetful old man. Tenney said she need not tell you that selective prosecution is morally, ethically, and legally prohibited. That is correct. That's selectively. Let me highlight that because it's worth noting. Selective prosecution is morally, ethically, and legally prohibited. Biden did not remember he was vice president, yeah, when his son died during special counsel interviews. Over 5 hours, over a 2-day period, the 2 days after the Hamas attack on Israel, as a matter of fact. We don't prosecute or decline to prosecute people based on their personalities or on the public's anticipated perception of them. That's exactly right. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Claudia is a lawyer. Her father was a lawyer in upstate New York. towards the Herkimer, Utica area, if I remember correctly. So she knows what she's talking about when it comes to charging people. If special counsel finds that the evidence forms a reasonable basis to bring charges, he must do so. Yeah, exactly right. I agree, Claudia. You're 100% correct. But the only way out for them was to say that you can't prosecute a president while he's in office, but if he loses this November, he'll be out in January of 2025. We prosecute him then. He'll be just an old man who's just not on there mentally. But he's okay now. He's okay now, but in 11 months, he's going to lose it all. Well, nobody believes that bullshit. Nobody. He doesn't have his faculties now, and of course, it's only going to get worse. Then he said the DOJ cannot ethically bring charges against former President Trump because he has a mental acuity and a forceful personality, and declined to bring charges against President Biden because of his cognitive decline. Yeah, that's right. Again, selective justice. Then he said Biden needs to be charged unless he is not mentally competent to stand trial. Candidly, special counsel's report makes a reasonable case that he is not, Tenney said. Being unable to remember what position he held and when is exceptionally concerning. Being unable to remember when one's child died, even with a time frame of several years, is perhaps more than damning reflection of his mental impairment. His latest gaffe said he talked to the Prime Minister of France and told him that America's coming back. And the Prime Minister of France said, well, for how long? I believe it was Mitterrand is his name. He died in 1996. Tenney went on to say that Biden most seemingly lacks the ability to execute his presidential responsibilities. So it is incumbent upon you to explore proceedings to remove the president pursuant to the 25th Amendment to the United States Constitution, Tenney wrote. President Biden needs to be changed or he needs to be removed. There is no middle ground. The 25th Amendment can be invoked by the cabinet if the president becomes disabled to such a degree that he cannot fill his responsibilities. Biden on Thursday night, though, addressed the nation saying his memory is fine and defended his reelection campaign, saying that he was the most qualified person in the country to be president. No. Even without Donald Trump, you are not the most qualified person. I'm well-meaning and I'm an elderly man and I know what the hell I'm doing, Biden said. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. Recommendation obviously meaning the special counsel, and he says his memory is fine. Then he got mad because the special counsel said he couldn't remember when his son died. And then he went on about something about a rosary or... How dare you raise that, Biden said. Frankly, when I asked the question, I thought to myself, what's that any of your damn business? He's checking your mental faculties, you dope. Let me tell you something. I swear since the day he died, every single day, I wear the rosary he got from Our Lady. Biden stopped seemingly forgetting where the rosary was from. Biden became visibly emotional and declared, I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone to remind me when he passed away or has passed away or passed away. Unbelievable. And then he went on to discuss the conflict in the Middle East. Biden referred to Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the president of Egypt, as the president of Mexico. In the same press conference, or I should say announcement, that he says that he's fine mentally. But the president got a barrage of questions from the White House press corps. Yeah, I'm sure he did. From selective ones. He needs to finish the job. He's the most qualified in this country to be president. Come on. No, I don't think even he believes that. Meanwhile, Hur in his report said Biden, during his interview with the special counsel's team, could not remember key details, such as when he was vice president. He couldn't remember when he was vice president. In this interview with our office, Mr. Biden's memory was worse, the report states. He did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting on the first day of the interview when his term ended. If it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? He said to himself, and forgetting on the second day of the interview when his term began. In 2009, I am still vice president. like he was questioning himself. He'd not remember, even within several years, when his son Bo died. As his memory appeared hazy when describing the Afghanistan debate that was once so important to him. And goes on, Biden cited approvingly in his Thanksgiving memo to Barack Obama. In a case where the government must prove that Mr. Biden knew he had possession of the classified Afghanistan documents after the vice presidency and chose to keep those documents knowing he was violating the law. We expect that at trials, attorneys would emphasize these limitations in his recall. Let me repeat it again. I said in other videos. Any classified documents that Biden took and stored as he was vice president, U.S. senator for a ton of years, or a private citizen for 4 before he ran against Trump. And if he took documents, and he did knowingly and willingly and admitted it, during any of those times, it is a felony. And he should be charged under the Espionage Act, period. There isn't a real lawyer in the world that would dispute that. As for Biden's memory, prior to the recent report, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, she's terrible, but she got a great name. On Thursday, defendant Biden, when asked about a gaffe in which the president spoke of 2021 German Chancellor Helmut Kohl, who actually died 4 years earlier, arguing that misspeaking happens to all of us. It is common. That gaffe was similar to the one Biden made on Sunday when he claimed he spoke with Prime Minister Mitterrand, a French president who died in 1996 at the G7 meeting. There you have it. I'm just as sharp as I ever was. Well, that might be true. Ted Kennedy was supposedly quoted as saying, Joe Biden is the dumbest senator in the U.S. Senate. And that was Ted Kennedy, a Democrat like Joe Biden. Listen to some of the Clarence Thomas hearings when he was being up for Supreme Court. And the chair of the judiciary was Joe Biden. Dope. Unbelievable. Well, good for Claudia. I think what's going to happen is, or I hope what's going to happen, is the Democrats, or the people that really are the executive branch, are going to get together with the cabinet members. I think it's 2/3 of the cabinet members, I don't recall, under the 25th Amendment, saying that he's unfit. If they do that because Biden won't leave because he's stubborn, they may have to do that to try to solve a problem. If they see there is zero chance that Biden can beat Trump, and it's looking more and more likely of that, it's not zero now, but if it looks closer and closer that Biden's going to lose, they're going to have to replace him in desperation. How to get somebody that's older and stubborn out? Well, in this case, the 25th Amendment. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I don't see a way out for the Democrats. I really don't. Because who would be sworn in as president? Kamala Harris. Unless they can convince him or do the 25th Amendment at the end of the year, but that's after the election, so they're still screwed. So they're SOL. And those of you that are old or younger, they don't know what that means. Ask somebody older what SOL means. And there it is. He's losing his mental faculties, senility, maybe even beginnings of dementia. Makes gaffes all the time. Trump made a mistake the other day. He got, I think it was 2 cities mixed up in Iowa and somewhere else. Oh, there you go. Trump's losing it too. Give me a break. This guy is the gaff. There's dozens of videos, hundreds of gaffes that he's made just as president. Not even counting the stupid crap that he says, like, poor kids are just as intelligent and smart as white kids. Give me a break. And if you ain't black, you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Those weren't gaffes. That's what he really thinks. Anyway, good for Claudia. I'm glad Congressional Member Tenney put that letter in. Will it start anything with the Democrats? I don't know. Probably not. But we're going to have to see. The walls are closing in. How are they going to react? What do you think? Until the next time, God bless, goodbye, and good luck.